program, viewer discretion is advised.
One in the door, Snora, Poopa, Scuba! Gun Bunny and Shockwave! The immortal Ghost Rider! Jill Powers, the River The Wicked Wrench of the East Project Story Time! Huge hugs to Penny! Psychodork 9! Tyrannid Sickness! Dean Grant! It's time to wake the neighbor's boys with Southern Viking! Puddle Jumper! DJ Ronnie G! Gary Magda Sandwich Worthington! The Mad Doctor Day Alpha! Anima Confuser! The Lady Arwen Avalon! The Wrench of Wrenches, Chris Persia. Snowback PJC. Greetings program from Daryl the Derelict. It's Courtney, Fellowship of Oddballs, Project Cambrian. What is up, brother? Good morning. Who else do we got? We ran behind. Another Project Cambrian. What is up, brother? Good morning. Who else we got? What do we got? We got Daryl going. Twinkie. Where you at, Twinkie?
That's a huge
Holy
Twinkie.
shit. Good morning. Who we got? We got Jules 25. Jules Winfield. What is up? Juliet throws in a member chat, says, good afternoon, Loki, in the chat. That means you too, Zero. Good morning. What?
It's going to be one of those mornings.
It's gonna be one of those mornings. Holy shit. Chris Persia is over at Chapman. Chris Persia is over on the Rumbles. Good morning, Chris, again. All right. Okay. Holy shit. Jacked up and on Mountain Dew. No, I've got a nice cup of coffee here. We're gonna talk Taker. We're gonna talk WWE. We're gonna talk. I don't want to say. Well, I do. The sad state that wrestling is in.
Oh my goodness! What? Yeah, I'm sorry. I tried to dress for the occasion, but I don't have my Undertaker shirt on hand. I don't know what happened.
I got my beanie, but unfortunately, I love you, bro, but your beanie is small and tiny.
Well,
and doesn't really. It barely fits.
Well, you see, it kind of fits you the way it fits him. Maybe you both just have the same type of head.
We probably do. God help us all.
He's a dead man walk. So shout out to everybody saying good morning to us in chat. We are here.
Everybody.
We're here to kickstart another fantastic week of your Mornings of Mischief. So quick note. I want to throw this out there. Oh my God, because, it's Zero, the xenomorph himself. So I took it upon myself, since it's been a few months, to redigest Alien Romulus this weekend. And don't worry, this won't be a long thing. Oh my God.
I did not know
aliens
this
again.
was coming. And I've got a question I've got to ask you. So
All right. All right.
no, go ahead. Go ahead and we'll
So I figured I've had a few months to kind of let everything seep in. So I thought I'll give it another shot. So I watched it again this weekend, and my opinion on this movie has changed a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
How did that change? You didn't like it the first time.
It was, well, I sort of liked it the first time. I said what you and a lot of other people were
the
saying.
First half of the movie is I mean, you're like, it's a huge setup. You're getting there, and then
and then the second half, not only was it a problem for me because I already knew what they had put into it as fan service, even though it was too much all at once, just everything here and there. So I already knew that going in, and having already knew that, I found myself sitting through that whole second half, just waiting for the movie to be over. And to me, that just does not create a good sense of longevity in a film. And that's it. So yeah, it's, I just kind of didn't like this one. Really? Zero changing his opinion? Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because
Daryl, whatever you sent me, Daryl, I can't see it. I don't know what's going on, but Daryl, I was like, why is Daryl texting me in the middle of the show?
Oh no. So anyway, yeah, that's my opinion. Just not very good. There was just too much. And when you're waiting for a movie to be over, that just speaks volumes of how it speaks to you, which it did not. Yeah. So that was my
opinion has not changed.
Yeah. What? Didn't like.
Okay. Okay. So do you still watch wrestling? Does anybody here still watch wrestling? Raise your hand if you still watch wrestling. Wrestling. Do you still watch? Do you still watch WWE wrestling?
I would say. I mean, that's a tough question because I don't know anybody my age or anybody that I socialize with that still watches it as religiously as we did back when we were teenagers. But again, that's kind of a loaded question because as teenagers growing up in the era that we all grew up in, that was manufactured just for us. So yeah, you kind of lose touch with a little bit how the product ages, how we age as human beings. So anyway, long story short, no, I wouldn't say I watch it as often. I do watch it on occasion. We still have, the big four pay-per-views like WrestleMania, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble.
Do you get them?
SummerSlam. I do. And when they make the jump to Netflix next month, I'm sure we'll have even better access up here north of the border. So yes,
Raw is leaving. Raw, SmackDown, all that shit is leaving Peacock.
Yeah.
So next month, as soon as the deal goes through, you're not getting any. You're still going to get the back catalog, and you're still going to get pay-per-views, but you're not going to get the shows.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say I'm what you would call a casual wrestling fan. I still tune in, get some buds together, not those kind of buddies, get some friends together, watch the big four pay-per-views, but keeping up on the weekly shows like Raw, SmackDown, whatever the hell NXT is doing, man, I don't have the time to keep up with all that, nor do I have the interest in what the product is. Not saying it's horrible all the time, but it's not entirely what I'm looking for. So I'm a casual viewer.
Courtney, Fellowship of Oddballs asked, what kind of keyboard is back there? I see keys.
Oh, I thought she was looking for a keyboard. That is, what is that again? It's a Korg.
Korg? I thought it was a Casio.
It's a Korg. Yeah, I got that actually last year for a Black Friday sale. It's a Korg EK50.
Okay.
And it's very versatile. I like it. It can do a lot and it sounds good.
Right,
so yeah.
Good question. Thank you, Courtney. Okay. So Arwen says she tapped out of wrestling about 5 years ago. Project Cambrian says not in years. A lot of people are like, no, not for a very long time. I tapped out after Rock Hogan. So it was like, into the
What a
NWO when
what a
he came
time.
back. What a great time.
What a time.
Squeaka, what is up? Squeaka Mouse has gifted 5 Loki's Mornings of Mischief
Jesus.
memberships. Thank
5
you
times.
so
5 times.
very much, Squeaka.
Wow.
Holy crap. Thank you so
guys-
very much.
Did you guys get that deja vu feeling? Didn't we just do this a few days ago?
Friday night?
Yeah.
Night, guys, Friday night, ZBR, you are the man. Old Gamer 72 Cutlass, Squeaka 6, Dega Outlaw, this guy over here who knows better than to do shit like that.
Hey, come on. It's okay once in a while. You guys are awesome. Damn, Squeaker, where the hell you been? So,
Daryl's like, I stopped watching wrestling. Watching wrestling.
What surprises me a little bit, because I know, it was and still is the global phenomenon that it's always been.
I owe you a skull, Squeaker. We'll get to there in a second.
Yeah. But I'm not surprised that a lot of people don't watch it, but what I am surprised, especially from everybody firing off in chat, that a lot of people did watch it. So we got a lot of core former generational wrestling fans in our group. Happy Monday, Squeaka. Good to see you.
Happy Monday, Squeaka. Thank you so very much. This one is just for you. You guys keep the fires burning bright here in Valhalla, and we're going to give you some toxic femininity this morning, Squeaka. I put the cookies down. So I found wrestling when I was like 6 or 7. We had a little video store in Deer Park, Texas, the butt crack of Houston.
The butt crack.
I'm not kidding. And they had, Saturday Night Main Event Slam. They had, the WrestleManias. They had the Royal Rumbles. They had the Survivor Series. They had, the cassettes, the home video, Coliseum home video.
The wrestling tapes. People used to trade them like crazy back then.
And my dad was so pissed. You ain't getting that. I'm like, yeah, I am. I want to see who this Hogan guy is. And, America. And he hated it. And I didn't know why. And he hated it. And he hated it. And he hated it. And every time I don't want to hear about none of that fake nonsense.
For real wrestling.
Well, I never understood. I was like, and my uncle got in on it too. It's all fake and Hogan's all steroided out and you don't need to be watching that. And I didn't understand why. I never understood why until he sat down. I think I was a teenager and I was like, I want you to come to this event with me. I want you to come to Monday Night Nitro. Flair's supposed to be there. Hogan's supposed to be there. Piper's supposed to be there. All the people that, and he liked Rowdy. He liked him in
who didn't like
They
Rowdy?
Live.
Yeah.
And he liked all that shit. He really liked that movie. So he sat me down and he was like, look, my dad left when I was 12. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, that's the only thing we ever did together was he took me and Clarence, which was his brother. He took us to go see wrestling. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bad blood there that I'm not going to get into. But I was like, okay, I get it. Okay. And he was like, I'll go with you because you bought the ticket, but I don't really want to go. And he went and, he had an okay time. I think it bugged him, but he did that for me because I bothered to spend, I think it was like $112 on a ticket.
Back
and
then.
These were good tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. $110, $15 got you like, 3 back from ringside. So, we
amazing.
went and I had this big sign, Piper for president, that ended up getting on TV that he was absolutely just like, you got on TV, boy.
Roddy got me there.
Roddy got me there. Rest in peace, Hot
man.
Rod. God help me.
God,
So, wrestling for me goes way back, but I remember I remember getting Survivor Series and this big, tall, dark motherfucker coming out, to for whom go ahead.
Oh, that's one. That's F bomb
Oh
number
yeah,
one.
F-bomb number one. Okay.
We're gonna have to get a counter up on the screen at some point. Loki's new F bomb droppage. So we're going all the way back to 1990.
Yeah, and I say, Ted DiBiase brings him out, who's the most ultimate heel, and you had Brother Love, escorting him down the ring, and that was wrong. It wasn't until Paul Bearer came along, and you had Paul Bearer. Oh yes, Undertaker. Oh, yeah. And that would carry on forever until the last time we saw him when he was supposed to be dead. Okay, Kane buries him. He's like, Undertaker's dead. He's not coming back. And they meet at WrestleMania, and out of nowhere, you hear, "Oh yes!" And you're like, "Oh my god!" And Paul Bearer comes out, and he's twice the size he used to be. But I mean, he lost his wife, and he literally ate himself to death. God bless him, dude. I felt so bad when I found out. So I didn't know why he was gone. I wasn't keeping track. I wasn't on the interwebs looking at everything. Then I was out. I was kind of already out, and I heard, Kane buried Undertaker, and Undertaker's coming back, and everybody's like, oh, he's going to be in the coat, he's going to be in the hat. I was like, oh, he's leaving the biker shit behind finally. And going back to that. So I tune in every once in a while. I would tune in when I would hear something until I stopped hearing shit. And it wasn't until probably this year that someone was like, oh, you got to check out this rivalry. And I started watching a little bit here and there. And I don't watch it live. I don't watch the pay-per-views except for certain things that I want to see. I skip through everything else because who the hell wants to see, what do they call him? Bisexual Undertaker, which is what's his Damien Priest or whatever. I don't want to watch that shit.
What did Drew McIntyre call him? Bondage Undertaker.
Bondage Undertaker. God, Percy Pringle. God. Yes, absolutely, Percy Pringle.
I'll tell you what, because I was steeped in WWF at the time back then, and Paul Bearer had kind of came and went a few times, when he was siding with Kane and all that, because Kane and Undertaker go way back, meeting at WrestleMania 14 for the first time in the ring. And I remember when he's doing his whole biker gimmick, I thought, all right, that's cool. He's just kind of letting himself go a little bit.
Keep rolling. He actually came out to that. So just. We are getting there.
We're getting
just
there.
A little recap real quick about where we are and where we stand.
We got a lot of catching up.
But he came out to that. He came out to rolling.
That's cool.
Which surprised me. I didn't
because
think he'd do that.
Well, because if you were like me, you were balls deep in Limp Bizkit too back then. Sometimes I still am because Wes Borland's a great musician. They got some fat beats. So I remember, when
that's an interesting way to put it. Balls
that is it.
Deep and
back in my day,
you know what a Limp Bizkit is?
Yes, it's like a split dick slit. So back in my day, we used to call it limping with the biscuit. Yeah, get that.
I hate that fucking band.
So
I remember getting in my friend's car and him putting, he's got the CD in. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's Limp Bizkit, dude. I'm like, this is gay.
See, this is where we start to go right off the rails. So anyway, I remember, he's going through his whole biker thing, and I thought that's cool. Paul Bearer kind of comes and goes, Joker voice, welcome back. Holy crap.
Welcome back, my friend.
I'm still looking for you, Joker. So he's doing the biker thing, and everybody's kind of enjoying it. And we're going along. 2003 rolls around, late 2003. Kane and Undertaker do this whole buried alive thing. Can't stand them either. You know what? I get it. Even when I loved Limp Bizkit back then, people hated him all over the place. So I'm used to it. I understand it.
Durst is the worst, yes.
Durst is the worst. Yeah. But you know what? He's the reason I started wearing my ball cap backwards all the time. So, and he did teach me some very important life lessons. True story. But that's a story for another time. So Kane buries him alive. So of course, in the days of the internet, everybody's online speculating what's going on. And my buddies and I went to the movie theater back when they used to air WrestleMania and pay-per-views at movie theaters. If you didn't have, pay-per-view or anything like that. And I'll tell you what, when the lights went out and those druids came out with the flames and Paul Bear's doing his, oh yes,
Yep.
we're all sitting in the back row, and we weren't the only ones screaming our asses off because this was Deadman Undertaker coming back. And he comes out, takes his jacket off, and he's got on leather pants and a tank top. That's not Deadman. That's bullshit. And I always kind of said, you know what? My theory is that's the outfit he was buried alive in. So he's kind of just going with that. But he was a friggin' Undertaker. Still is. Anyway, that's my little recap of events leading up to everything here. And then, of course, later on, as he went further in his career, he brought back more of his, Undertaker persona with, paranormal stuff and those friggin' badass trench coats that he came out with. And yeah.
Anima Confuses says, one of my brothers loved that band. My room was next to his. Had to listen to that all the effing
time.
Ugh.
I get
Emphasis
it.
on the
I get it.
Joker Boy, Smart Calloway, best character in WWE history. Evolution of Deadman, American Badass, Deadman Inc.
Hey, anybody remember Big Evil? Back when he came out sporting his red hair, and he used that
the devil shirt.
What did my ex-girlfriend call his theme song back then? Male stripper music? Because he came out with a da-da-da, and then like a couple weeks later, they got some guy singing over it. He comes out on his bike, and the singer's like, "You've done it now. You've gone and made a big mistake."
I hate that. Go away, your music sucks ass. That's why when he came out to keep rolling instead of that gay ass song. One of the first things I did when I got WWE 2K24 was I erased that you'll come again because this song sucks so bad. I got rid of that. And I got rolling, and I modded that bitch in the game. Keep rolling, because he does not come out to the bike to any other song. No. Do not give me the you'll go away. This song sucks so bad.
Actually, no. Loki, when he first came back as American Badass Undertaker, he came out to American Badass by Kid Rock. Like, oh my God.
But anyway. American Badass. They actually played that song too. Because they played Enter Sandman, then they played that song, and then he came out to Roland, and I was all right, okay,
well,
all right, so anyway, okay. So let's get to the real thing.
Let's do this. We've burned 25 minutes. I was going to say, let's.
You can ask me questions this morning.
All right.
So you can ask me questions.
It's it's a sign of things to come.
They had it at the music hall. At the music hall in Houston. It's very small, a very intimate setting. They had tables, obviously tables and chairs.
Tables, ladders, and chairs.
Not those kind of tables. They were just like little, like for two people. These are like tables for two. You got enough room to like put a drink down and maybe put something up on the table on your side, and the same for the other person. Small table, but that big, like, and two seats.
It's like one of those kind of cozy, intimate nightclub sort of settings. Yeah,
cozy, intimate. Yeah. They've got bars all around, of course, because dude, the people. So there was like 4 people at a table, and I don't understand how the hell they thought that was a smart idea around the small ass table. And they kept getting up through the whole show, and the guys kept coming back with beer constantly, beer. And he actually tore into one of them because they mouthed off or something. And he's like, "Go back to drinking your Bud Light." And I was like, oh shit. Go back to drinking Bud Light, bitch.
They mouthed off to Undertaker?
A couple of people mouthed off.
Oh my
God. Anyway, so you got to think intimate setting. So we're sitting there. The show hasn't started yet. It's cold as shit. So I'm glad I brought my gear to keep warm. It's cold as shit. in this music hall. And they've got multiple levels. So you've got 3 different levels. You've got, ground floor, second level, and then third level. Nothing over you. So, you're completely open, but you've got stuff on the sides that people can sit in. Same deal, tables. So we're sitting there and we're talking and we're waiting, and they've got, all kinds of shit. People are selling shit. They got booths with people selling all kinds of crazy shit. And Ben, as we're sitting there just kind of talking, hanging out, the lights go out, and a guy comes out, and he's, spotlight hits him, and he's like, "Thank you for coming here tonight, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada," and he goes away, and all the other lights drop, and boom, get rolling, dead man walking, rolling, dead man walking. Right? And he comes out, and he is a big ass dork. Don't let anybody tell you differently. He is one of us. If we were sitting in a bar or a coffee shop or wherever, all hanging out, all having a conversation, it just like you're hanging out with one of the boys. So he comes out, and there's no I dare you to go and find real video, because they locked up our phones. So they check you. They're like, keep your stuff in your hands. As you're walking in, you got to take all your stuff out of your pockets. They pat you down. They check you through electronics. They're like, keep your stuff in your hand. Do not put anything in your pocket. And walk over here. So you walk over there, and they're like, put your phone in this bag. They lock it. It's like a bank bag. And you get to go inside. And then they have shops and stalls and coat check and all that shit. So we go in, sit down. He comes out. He's doing his thing, and he's like, "Listen, this is what I want you to think. This is what this is. We just had a shoot. We are sitting around, hanging out at a bar after the show. We just worked our asses off, and that's the kind of environment you need to be in mentally to think about, where we're at." So you had people hooting and hollering. You had people yelling at him. One guy almost got thrown out because he just would not shut he's like, "You with the Bud Light." And yeah, that's like over by my table. I'm like, "Oh shit." He's like, "You got one more chance. You need to keep mouthing off. You need to drink your Bud Light and shut the fuck up." And I'm like, "Damn."
That kid's not messing around. That's why he's the judge, jury, and executioner of the Bone Street Crew and Wrestlers Court. I could imagine, though. I mean, if you get it doesn't matter where you are, especially in an environment like that. There's always going to be a group of 3 or 4 jackasses who, maybe dabble a bit too much with their beer or their drinks or whatever, and they're just going to make an ass of themselves. It's just going to happen. Sad but true.
I watched the podcast. Tiger seems very down to earth.
He
is,
does.
absolutely. Yeah. Joker's Wish says, but Mark was toasty warm from the bottle of Jack he downed half of before he took the stage. Actually, he had the Jack on the stage. So there's a little table set up off to where his chair was, which he never sat down in. He had a bar stool there, but he never sat down. 2 hours. The show was about 2 hours long. He never sits down. He's got a bottle of Jack, and everybody's
I'm 58 years old. I still got to get my steps in for the day. I'm not sitting. Hey, I wouldn't say that to his face. I love you, Mark. I love you, Mark. I've always respected you. Don't come over and beat me up.
So he's got this table, and it's got, there's a bottle of Jack right there. And, everybody's like, drink, drink, drink. He's like, "I'll drink when I want to. Y'all ain't pressing me into shit." He's like, I lived with Yokozuna and the Sheik and da 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 da. I don't have to do shit I don't want to. And he's like, "I will drink when I want to drink."
Yeah.
So he's very interactive with the crowd. He's really cool. He's really laid back. He's talking about the way it was, the way it is, and of course there comes a moment where everybody's like, "One more match. One more match, and he's like, "Ah," and then I'm not gonna happen.
He's like, probably used to that anyway. Yeah.
I am done. Damn, if I had fake hips and fake knees, I'd always be sitting And he
Well,
wasn't. He stood up
yeah.
for 2 hours. He talked. He walked around. He never took like a break and sat down. I was like, oh, that's better. No,
Yeah.
not once. You get that. You get the impression if he could be out there working right now, that's exactly what he would be doing.
Mhm.
He did make a joke about all the metal in his body. And,
Yeah. The
the
Terminator.
fact that like it's half of it is artificial now. He's like
Yeah.
half my body's art, plastic or metal now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's grind of his profession aside after doing what he did for 30 years, even when he, towards the latter years of his career, when he would appear sporadically, every few months and then once a year at WrestleMania. Man, when you're going that hard, it's just going to happen. Wrestling is a wear and tear on your body like you wouldn't believe. And to be able to go that long and perform at his level for that many years until he decided to finally call it a career, I'm not going to judge him for how much plastic or metal he's got in any of his joints, looking after his tendons or anything like that, because Undertaker, Mark Calloway, the man, is through and through a consummate professional from beginning to end. This guy never bitched about anything. He always gave it his best shot. He worked his ass off, not only for himself and the company, but for the betterment of his fellow wrestlers and female wrestlers alike, who all looked up to him. And that's why many people do to this day. This guy just gave it everything for over 30 years. And not a lot of people can say that.
Joe Dog has a question. It says, Logie, I have a question for you. Do you like Barry Allen or Wally West Flash? Jay Garrick, dude. Metal helmet with the wings. Holy shit. Jay Garrick. Over both of them. If I had to pick between Barry or Wally, Barry. But Jay Garrick over both of them. So during Vince's regime, talented work 300 plus. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, they would. Oh, yeah, they would. I actually got to ask him a question. We'll get to that before we get out of here. But
I was, because see, here's an example. I mean, 6, good to see you. Do you want to read that?
I have a negative association with wrestling. Sci-Fi, before it was CP channel, blocked me from their Facebook page because I criticized them for airing wrestling at night instead of science fiction shows. I would have done the exact same thing as you.
Yeah.
I would have told them, and I do believe I did.
Man, that's weird.
I do believe I did. The wrestling didn't belong on Sci-Fi. I'll tell you what, and we'll talk Monday Night Wars here really quick. Turner, TNT.
I'm in the wrestling business.
Monday Nitro. And Raw over on USA was epic. That was great. They should have never moved away from that. And that's exactly what they did. WCW went to the way of the dodo. They were the Kings. Yeah. And my boy Bischoff, I don't give a shit if you don't like him or not.
I'm back and better than ever.
He absolutely changed the face of entertainment, wrestling entertainment, whether you like him or not. I don't give a shit.
Well, he was good. Yeah, and Bischoff was great as a network executive. He knew all about how television worked and how to get that shit out there. But case in point, you talk Monday Night Wars and everybody will go back to one of the highlights of that era, Undertaker and Mankind at Hell in a Cell. And to pinpoint what I was saying earlier about his professionalism or never bitching about anything, if you go back and watch that match, I'm sure this is a lot of common knowledge by now, but Undertaker's foot was broken during the time of that match. And you can notice it as he's got a little hobble when he's coming out to walk. And then at that point where Mankind falls through the cage there and Taker comes down and he's hanging, and I'm thinking, oh shit. And then he kind of drops and lands on the mat. You can see him kind of pick that foot up a little bit, but you know what? Son of a bitch came out, walked down the ramp and climbed the cage faster than Mankind did with a broken foot. But did he bitch about it? No. Did he take a day off? No, because he knew when it was time to lace up the boots and put on a show. and give the people what they wanted with their hard-earned money. And he always understood that.
Arwen says, I was hooked on Glow.
Oh
the
my God.
Glamorous ladies of wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen.
They
and WWF. I never watched the others.
Nah.
Glow was great. Okay, so I have a guilty pleasure that I must share with the rest of the class. I think Liv Morgan is fucking hot. Oh my God.
She's a pretty girl.
She is a pretty girl. She is insane. She took a knee to the face Saturday night while we were at one Deadman show, which I obviously I didn't get to see live. I watched after, but I think Liv Morgan's hot. I think Rhea Ripley is ugly as shit, and I do not like her. I think that she is. So whoever put her over needs to be shot. I can't stand her bitch ass, but I absolutely love Liv. And I love Dom, dude. Dom is a fucking goat already. The amount of heat. Dominic Mysterio, who really should be called Dominic Guerrero. Yes, I know there was a whole show about Eddie being his real father and how Ray's not, but that was a show. It's not true. But still, he grew up and he was like, I'm going to grow my hair out and have a big ass fucking mustache like Eddie and be the biggest heel ever. And I'm like, dude, you go and get it. You cannot buy the heat that some bitch has.
That heat is real heat. Cause I mean, you can talk about X-Pac heat. X-Pac had the kind of heat where you just want him to go away, like go away heat. Not Eddie. Dom just has to come out. He just has to come out on stage and people hate this son of a bitch, and Liv Morgan, she's a pretty girl. And believe it or not, this is wild. Loki and I have a different opinion now.
Io Sky, I love Io. I love Io. I love Suka. I love the other one. The two that used to be in, what was that? Kabuki Warriors. Holy shit. I love both those
Kairi
girls.
Sane. Yeah.
Yes, Kairi Sane. I love all them ladies. But
I thought Rhea Ripley was I thought she was pretty when she came out. She was like 17, 18 years old
and blonde. That's a totally different animal. When I found out what she used to look like when she came when she showed up, I was like, damn, you were cute. And now mommy, that's all cringe as fuck.
It is a little bit a point, but the funny thing is, after watching her evolution, this is where our opinion differs, because I kind of I still think she's pretty hot. She's the kind of girl,
her mommy.
She
really,
I might if she asked nicely or either demanded it and put me in a chokehold. She's not the girl you take home to mommy. Let's get that straight. But if she came up to me in a club and was like, you like to dance? I'd be like, no, I don't know how to dance. And then she grabs me by the throat and drags me to the dance floor saying, that wasn't a fucking question. I'd be okay with that. I still think she's a good looking girl.
Arwen is so just dead on first lady wrestling. Ooh, yeah.
Elizabeth, I love you. Oh my God. Crazy.
I want to tell you, one of the only times I've ever shed a tear
is when everybody else
watching wrestling was when everybody was when Elizabeth ran down to the ring, WrestleMania. What was it? 7? WrestleMania 7, 8?
Yeah. 7 or 8. Yeah. When they were having
and sensational Scary Sherry's beating the shit out of Macho Man. And Elizabeth jumps in that ring and tears her off of Macho. And when Macho comes to, and he's like, and Elizabeth's like, oh my God, Randy, it's me. And he's like, what the hell are you doing here? She's like, I couldn't help it. I had to stop her. And he's like, I love you, baby. And you're like, yeah. Oh my God, yes.
Everybody in the crowd's losing their shit. You got that guy who's become a meme since then. He's got that big hat with the big friggin' glasses on, just bawling his ass off. Just, oh my God. And that's the sad reality of how it was back then too, because, you had Macho Man, Miss Elizabeth, Sensational Sherry, and Ultimate Warrior all involved in that match, and
Yeah.
none of them are here anymore.
6.
And
Oh,
it's-
it
and
was
it's
7.
sad.
I thought it was 7. Yeah,
It
I
was
was at
7.
WrestleMania 7 when the
Yeah.
Savage missed a little bit of reunion. Great WrestleMania moment. I was there.
Yeah, because
Well,
6
I saw
was
it after the fact.
6 was up in Toronto here, up in close to my neck of the woods with Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and all that shit. And then lo and behold, we get Mania up in Toronto again in 2002 for Rock Hogan and who was it? Undertaker and Ric Flair. That was also a good match. Just watching Undertaker beat the shit out of Ric Flair.
Elizabeth
Oh
Young,
my
2 months, says, "Hey, Uncle Loki, did you know that the agencies can give coop relief to dead people? What the fuck? I'd be pissed if I wasn't rolling on the floor laughing my ass off." That's 2, maybe 3. I don't know.
I think we're
I'm
up
trying
to
to be
4 now.
nice, but God help me.
Cotton Ministries gets it. It's still real to me, damn it.
It was real to me. Yeah, at the time, dude, I was just a kid.
Yeah.
I was just a kid.
Oh man.
And
So-
I was, yeah, dude, I was upset.
It
I was freaking, it got me. There are times when all this stuff,
it catches up with you sometimes because you just
Yeah.
get so absorbed in it, and you're okay with suspending your disbelief for a while because you buy into it. You grew up watching these people, and sometimes they know how to pull your heartstrings. And you know what? There's
Yes, they
nothing
do.
wrong with that because it's entertainment, and good entertainment is the stuff that can give you that emotional connection to everything.
we're gonna run out of
So,
time if we don't get
I
back
know.
on the,
So I got to ask you,
yeah.
because I'm sure everybody wants to know, what were you able to ask Mr. Undertaker at his show?
It actually keys in on what we were just talking about, but it also keys in on Charlotte Flair. Now, Charlotte Flair was a person that I came back to watch a couple times. Why? Because she's like Legacy Dynasty.
Mhm.
That is Ric Flair's daughter. There's a lot of people that don't like Ric Flair. I am in the, oh yeah, I like Ric Flair. How can you like Ric Flair after the airplane, twirly bird, blah, blah, blah? Because all them guys were doing insane shit.
That's how it was
And-
back then. People were
That's
crazy.
how it was back then. And a lot of them got fired.
Mhm.
Scott Hall got fired that day, and all he was passed out, completely passed out drunk. And he got fired. And when JR was like, "Well, what do you want me to do about Flair?" And he's like, "Nothing." And JR, "What do you mean nothing? He did the worst thing of all. He pulled his junk out right there in front of the stewards and twirled it around like a helicopter."
My God,
And Vince is like,
it's
"He's a
about
made
to
man.
turn bowling shoe ugly.
He's made man. I can't do anything to him." What does that mean, a made man? That means that he generates enormous money on his own,
Mhm.
which means that I can't get rid of him. I just
Yeah.
can't. He can do all the crazy, insane shit he wants as long as it doesn't make it into the like mainstream news.
Which was a lot more difficult back then too. But yeah, not so much now.
My question was, knowing what you know about how wrestling was and how it is today, would you support your daughter getting into the business? And he said, "Oh, absolutely. Absolutely." He goes, "I don't know if I'd be happy about it, but I'd support it 100%. I mean, that's just like, you had this like regal thing with Charlotte when she came out. Everybody was like, bow to the queen, second generation, wrestler, she's born for this. She was, genetically.
She's genetically gifted in that way. It's in her blood. In her blood.
And if you listen to what she says, she's like, it wasn't her dream, but it was her dream after her brother died.
Mm-hmm.
And if any of you watched WW or WCW back in the day, Ric Flair had a son that was, slated to one day be, take his dad's place. And he died.
He
died from drugs.
It was pretty tragic. That's why, I'm somewhat comfortable saying Charlotte Flair is genetically gifted because it's like, it's just in her genes. It comes naturally. But don't get me wrong. Charlotte Flair busted her ass to get where she is. She is carved out of granite, and her workouts show you exactly why she looks the way she looks. She busts her ass. But anyway, back on track.
I would honestly, I would love what I would love, and I know she'll never do it. She's done. She's out. She's whatever. But I would love for in the middle of all this Liv Morgan Rhea because they did something stupid on Saturday night. They had Rhea come down, but she didn't do anything. So she's just standing there, kind of like, eh. And that's a WCW move. Okay. When we gotta cut the commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. And you don't see the interaction. Okay. People are there to see the interaction. People are watching to see this interaction. They want to see the drama. Right. So don't cut away at the best, like at the best part, especially when you're on Peacock. You're on Peacock. You don't have to have commercials, and they cut away and you miss all that. And then they come back and they're about to start a match. And you're like, guys, what in the shit? The EO Liv match was great. Liv got kneed in the face. Yeah, that was bad. She didn't break her nose. She just got she had like a little nose ring in. But apparently they can have shit like that in their face when they're wrestling now. And that touched something and that made her nose bleed. Wasn't anything super, super bad. But it could have been because the way that knee connected, I was like, oh shit, because Liv's like, oh, like cross-eyed fucking donkey kick to the face. And I was like, I don't think that was supposed to hit that way. And at the end, when they slow-mo it, you see her connect. You see her whole face go from normal to like, I mean, literally, she's like, I got kicked by a mule. Yeah, you got kicked by a fucking mule. You called EO Sky, and
that's why it's still real to me. Damn it. That's one of the. Oh my goodness.
Abe Nautic, what is up, brother? Says you guys are taking me back. Haven't watched it since it was WWF. You guys should do a watch through of some of those old WrestleManias from late 80s and 90s. We could totally do that.
Yeah, we
could totally do that. You want to do that next month? You want to watch through? You want to watch through a couple of manias?
Well, we were still trying to look for a booker to book us all those Raw or Monday Night War shows that we talked about last year.
We've still got to do that. And then the Vince McMahon shit screwed that up.
The funny thing is, I mean, because everybody talks about. I promise we'll get back to Undertaker, Mark Calloway eventually. The funny thing is, everybody talks about the groundbreaking phenomenon that was the first WrestleMania in 1985, and they had the star power like Liberace and Cyndi Lauper and all that stuff. But if you go back and you watch that show, it's really not very good. I mean, can anyone tell me what the first WrestleMania match in history was? It was Tito Santana and some friggin' mysterious Muta guy or something like that. I don't even remember. And I'll never forget they come out, they have their match, and then the guys are up there talking, and you see Tito just kind of walking back to the ring. And I'm sitting there watching thinking, wow, how far we've come. It's just, I'll give credit for them putting it together and, taking it to where it is today. But yeah, that first Mania, it's not the greatest.
Okay. So back to the intimate setting, Taker's on stage. Taker's talking about all kinds of cool stuff. Taker's talking about shit that happened back in the day with Yoko, and the long ass hair, because he had hair like past his ass. So you never saw that because his hair was always up in this like, sumo wrestler bun. But and fucking with him, and he'd be like, Marcus, pick me up first. And he's like, no, bitch, not until we get out of town. I don't want anybody to know that, we're friends or anything. He's like, always with the kayfabe, Marcus. You asshole, Marcus. You take me with you. And he's like, no, bitch. I'm once we get out of town. And they get out of town, and they're supposed to be like helping each other, like one guy drives, the other guy navigates, then they swap, and Yoko falls fast to freaking sleep. I mean, and he's like snoring, and he's got this like this gangster rap shit playing in the like his cassette. He's like, "You play my tape, Marcus." And so they're driving down the road, and Yoko's fast asleep, and Taker's listening to this shitty music. He turns the music off, and he's like, "God, dude, this is so annoying." So he turns the heater up all the way up, cranks it all the way up, points the vents over there, and suddenly, just I mean, it's like water running down a mountain. Water's running down.
Was this a story he told on Saturday night?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, you know, they're driving out in the middle of BFE. Yokozuna's got just sweat pouring down his face. You know, he wakes up, he's like, "What you do, Marcus? You fuck with me?" And you're like, "Oh my God, this is the funniest shit ever." I've never heard this story before. And you know, he's got you know, and he Taker's like, "Oh, he's got, you know, all this long hair that he always wore up in the bun." And he kept, you know, put the tape back on and turning the AC down till finally he like lowered the window down all the way. And he's got like hair flapping in front of his face and flying out the window. And it's just like the stories about them screwing with each other, you know, them screwing with each other, and him and Iron Sheik and all this shit that they got into and the stuff that they did. He's a big dork. He's just like us. He's a big geek. It's like listening to stories that you share with your buddies about, you know, the shit that went on with your other buddies. You were gonna ask something?
I was gonna say he's one of those guys, like one of your drinking buddies telling campfire stories, you know, bitching about their exes, their kids' school problems, and all that kind of stuff. And then all the stories. And again, full credit to his professionalism, keeping kayfabe for his entire career. You know, he would have little hints here and there towards the end of his career, but he always kept that curtain like 99% closed. And it wasn't until the day he retired, you know, when the water started to calm a little bit, that's when he started to open up. And I'm thinking, man, this guy's in his mid 50s. He's not even wrestling that much anymore. And he's still keeping his ethics and his belief in the industry alive. So and he was probably the last one to do it. Go ahead.
Eris didn't watch wrestling until she saw Undertaker. I was watching some with Undertaker, and she goes, "Who in the hell is that?" I said, "That's the Undertaker." And she started getting interested. Who the hell the Undertaker? Well, of course, Undertaker's retired. At least it would be his last official match. At that point, he would come back at the last WrestleMania and chokeslam Rock through the damn ring to remind him who the real big boss, the
real final boss is.
Real final boss is.
It's a cool moment. It's a very cool moment.
Very, very cool moment. But she missed all that. So he brings up, and he did bring this up. He brings up Suburban Commando. And he's like, he's talking about, you know, things that he went through in the industry. And he's like, and then I get picked up for this movie. Because he's talking about how, you know, he basically got told, you'll never amount to anything. No one's ever going to pay to watch you. No one's ever going to, you know, pay to see you wrestle. And how he got picked up for this movie. And he's like, don't watch it. It's the worst damn movie you'll ever see ever. Is Suburban Commando. And Eris is like, what's Suburban
I was
Commando?
frozen today.
And I said, we'll watch it. Don't worry about it. We'll watch it. She's never seen Suburban Commando.
That's what you would call a guilty pleasure kind of movie. I mean, I'm sure
he even did the thing. He's like, "You're dead, Ramsey."
Oh my God.
So it's he's very down to earth. He interacted all night long with the audience. You know, he answered people's questions. He didn't get to do a Q&A with everybody, but the people that did get Q&A got pretty cool. Some people won some shit. Some people got called up. They picked some people out of the audience and brought them up on stage. Of course, all of these people were in the first like 2 rows. So they're right there. But
Yeah.
and one of them was someone that went to the same high school he went to. So I was like, oh, and she ends up being the first. She ends up being number one. She ends up winning. But she did answer all the questions. Some people say it's rigged. I don't really care. I'm just there to see a show. I'm not there to try and be a pick me. I just want to see the show. I want to experience it. It's one of those things that we may do again next year. It was not that expensive. So 2 tickets, table, 3 rows from Taker. I mean, literally, I could have taken 5 steps, reached up, and shook his hand. How much do you think that's going to cost you?
I would say in a setting like that, I'm just going to ballpark it for 2 tickets. I would say somewhere around the range of like $150
a pop or for both.
For both. I know that
you're not that
really,
far off. It was like 60 and change a ticket. That's with taxes. That's with the fees and all that shit. So it came out to like $120 and change,
which is pretty damn good. I mean, I'd gladly pay that for a 2-hour show where he's engaging with the crowd, telling stories, doing all that. Hell yeah, I would do it. I think
the first couple of rows obviously are more expensive because you're talking about in a more interactive experience. And like I said, the Hispanic gentlemen and their girlfriends or wives or sisters or whatever, I can't tell, honestly, that were there. They were pissed drunk on Bud Light, and he kept telling them exactly.
Who gets pissed drunk on Bud Light anyway? Like,
he kept telling them, he's like, drink your Bud Light and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is, I guess if you're within that range, you get more, you're obviously paying for more. You're paying for interactive experience. But it was worth it. It was fun. A lot of the stuff is super expensive. If you want shirts, I think the shirts were $40 a pop. This is shirts that you can get at like freaking you would see at like Walmart or some shit back in the day.
Well, that's the thing with the venues and the independent, circuits and stuff like that too. The merch is always going to be ridiculously expensive, no matter.
So I had to get something, and I got that. That was $20. So this little skull cap beanie deal, was $20. Shirts were double that. They had other stuff. They had a belt. They had Taker's belt, which I've already got, so I'm not worried about that. They had coffins. They had urns. The urn was too expensive. It was like $200 for this black urn that I was like, no.
It'd be cool if you got the money to piss around on it, but I mean, was it Undertaker-esque? Like, did it have a logo on it or anything?
Yeah, it had his TU.
Because I was gonna say if it's just a plain black urn and you put that up in your house and someone comes over like, oh my god, who is that? It's like, it's okay. It's just a Undertaker memorabilia. Nobody died. No, I haven't, Cotton. I haven't. But I mean, speaking from experience, I just can't understand how anybody would want to or be able to get drunk off Bud Light. Every time Zero shifts in his chair, I get excited. Whoo! You get a little damp in the panties, Six, waiting for me to fall down. I'm sorry to break the news to you, sweetheart, but these are steel legs now. Zero's not going anywhere.
Oh, did you get a new chair?
Well, yeah, I did that when I got the whole setup upgraded because the other chair was just... Yeah, the other chair was way too easy to tip. This one's got steel legs that go all the way around like an octopus, so I can go ape shit in this thing. I'm not going to fall. I'm sorry, Six. Maybe for Christmas next week, I'll pull out the old chair and maybe something will happen, but I can't.
You know what I found to be like the best upgrade as far as chairs go? This has like skate wheels on it. So it's got like the big, brown, fat skate wheels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not the like little roly-poly office chair wheels. It's got like inline skate wheels that are like that tall, that thick around.
These are these are the steel wheels that are keeping me grounded. So yeah, Zero's not going anywhere in this thing. I'm sorry to say. For those of you waiting me to fall again, it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Six, but that's what men do. We let people down. So overall, you enjoyed the show. You would go again.
It's great. I would go. Oh yeah. We'll go next year. Yeah, we'll go next year. Definitely go next year again. It was a cool experience. If you haven't done it, I suggest you get out there and try and do it. Have fun. Think about it like that. He's a big dork, so it's like hanging out with one of us for 2 hours.
Yeah. So Mark, if you're free, come on the show.
Yeah, come on, hang out, man.
We'd be glad to have you. We won't ask you too many wrestling fanboy geeky questions. We'll have a general discussion about the nature of existence and why are we really here. No. Did you really throw Mankind off the cage? Oh my God. What did you think when you threw him up?
Yes. Oh my God. No, do not ask him stupid shit like that.
Oh my God. You know,
someone did ask him something ignorant and he made it plainly clear he thought it was ignorant. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're asking me about that? Oh, well.
It's one of those things. I don't know about you. Maybe you were in the same boat. It's one of those things where if you're presented with an opportunity like that to talk to someone in his position, I don't know. I would probably try to rack my brain a bit too much to ask him something a little bit profound and try my damnedest to make sure it's something he's probably not been asked a million times before already. But that's just me. Did you, how many questions did you go through before you?
Oh, I knew exactly what I was going to ask him because everybody I've watched the 6 Feet Under podcast and I know what irritates him and the questions he gets asked all the time. And he's like, oh, I'll get that question asked all the time. I hate answering it. So I thought of something that, and there was a bunch of people that were, someone did ask the Mankind question. And I think that's the one where he was, what are you, ignorant? But I knew because I know that his daughter will sit there and call matches. So, she will sit there as like a commentator.
Yeah.
And call, and she knows what everything is. She knows what everything's called. She knows the amount of wrestling knowledge this kid knows is insane. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, I wonder if he'd be cool with her, getting in the business and being a part of the business. And yeah. I knew exactly what I was going to ask.
It's pretty fun to think about. Do you think she would, if it, like hypothetically, if his daughter got into the business and, obviously word would get out, Undertaker's attached to her name, Mark's her dad and kind of stuff like that. Do you think she would maybe try to be like her own original product, or would she do a little bit of phenom
I would
stuff?
come
would
in.
Would she even try to like follow in her mom's footsteps, Michelle McCool? Would she kind of do that, or like a hybrid? I don't know.
If I was her, if I was in that position, I was her, this is what I'd do. I'd come in like her mom. There'd be some and do the work. There'd be some kind of devastating match. Something that is like a car crash that you're not supposed to walk away from, and then come back as the chick version of Undertaker.
Under chick. She could be the real bondage Undertaker. No offense.
Stay that course and don't break kayfabe just like you did.
Yeah, because like I said, he was probably the last guy to do it, because I don't know of anybody in I'm sucking on the tea bag here already, so that must mean
he's sucking on tea bags. That's interesting. Guys, we're getting out of here. Thank you so very much, everyone that came in here, everyone that's hung out with us this morning. Thank you to all the member comments. Thank you, Squeak a Mouse, for your gifted memberships. You were absolutely awesome, girl. Thank you, Six, for being here. Thank you, Elizabeth Young. Joker Boys, you guys keep the fires burning bright. And that's it, guys. Take care. Be excellent to each other. Always speak, print, enter. We'll see you on the next Zero Hour. And don't miss, there's a member stream coming up later today. Member stream, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Take care, everybody.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.